When an employee submits a leave request, an email is automatically sent to their approver letting them know that they have a request pending their review. The email will include the employee's name, the leave type requested, and the dates requested off, as well as a link to the request. Please note that if you are not logged into the system, the link will take you to the login page, not the specific request. For all leave requests, short and long term, you should consider several things before making the decision to approve, including: is the employee entitled to this leave type? As we mentioned earlier, when submitting a leave request, there will be leave types listed that an employee is not entitled to, and they may, in error, select an incorrect leave type. As an approver, it is your responsibility to know which leave types the people on your team are entitled to use and the number of hours available. The next question to ask yourself is, does the employee have enough leave time to take the number of hours requested? Once again, it is your responsibility to ensure that an employee is not in a negative leave balance situation. And, as we mentioned earlier, there are two situations where you may approve a request when the employee does not have enough leave hours to cover the time requested off. The first situation is if the leave request is for the future when the employee will have earned enough leave to cover the request. For example, on March 30th, a permanent employee requests 5 annual leave days in June. The employee may not have the leave on March 30th. However, they will have earned the leave requested by June. The second situation is for employees whose collective agreement allows them to request sick leave days that have not been earned, but will be earned in the upcoming fiscal year. Once again, if an employee takes leave in advance of earning it and leaves the organization before earning the sick leave taken, they will have to pay back the money earned during the sick leave days. The final question to ask yourself when making the decision to approve or deny a leave request is, based on operational requirements, can I approve the time off? For example, you may already have staff with approved leave for the same dates that another employee is requesting, and approving the request may place the organization at risk with respect to service delivery. As a supervisor or manager, one of your responsibilities is to ensure that you are adequately staffed to provide services. If you can answer yes to all three of these questions, it would be appropriate to approve the request. However, if the answer is no to any of the three questions, you would normally deny the request. Obviously, there may be some extenuating circumstances, and you may make a different decision. For example, an employee may request leave to spend time with a gravely ill parent. Operationally, it may not be ideal for the employee to be out of the office. However, given the gravity of the situation, you approve the request. Bereavement leave would also be an exception. Obviously, we would not deny a bereavement leave request if the employee was entitled to it. When making these decisions, remember you can contact your HR consultant for advice. If you receive a leave request for certified sick leave, you must wait until the employee has provided medical documentation to approve the request. You are probably thinking, how long do I wait for the medical documentation before speaking with the employee? In the request, the employee may mention a time frame for submitting the note, or they may have mentioned it to you in person. If the employee has not provided a date, you may want to have an informal conversation with them, letting them know that you will approve the request once the required documentation is provided. Please keep in mind that the collective agreements and the HR policy do not define the number of days that an employee has to provide their medical documentation. However, after 10 days, if the request has not been approved or denied, you will receive a system-generated email reminding you to action the request. This is a good reminder to speak with the employee and remind them that you are waiting on their medical documentation to approve their certified sick leave request. If you do not receive the medical documentation after speaking with the employee, you can contact your HR consultants for advice on how to proceed. Now that we have some background on making the decision to either approve or deny a request, let's look at the steps to approve or deny leave in SSLA. You can find all requests pending your review on the Absence Requests page. You can find this page by clicking on Main Menu, Manager Self-Service, time management, approved time, and absence requests. On the top of the absence request page, the approver's name and position is listed. The absence requests page automatically opens to all pending requests which are listed in the absence requests box. You can change the status to approved or denied by clicking on the drop-down button next to the pending status. We will look at the drop-down again when we cancel an approved request. In this example, the approver has only one leave request pending their review. For each request, the employee name, ID, and job title, as well as the leave type and dates of the request are shown. The status of the request and the date it was submitted is also listed. Before you review or deny a request, you can view your whole team's monthly schedule, which includes the days they have requested off, by clicking on the View Monthly Calendar link at the bottom of the page. We will look at the monthly calendar a little later in the session. To review a request, click on the Employee's Name link. When you select the request details page opens. This page is divided into 5 sections. The first section is the employee information, which includes the employee's name and position title. The absence details box lists the leave type information, dates of the leave requested, and the total number of hours requested. In this example, the employee has requested annual leave on July 29th for 7 hours. For any leave types that are earned and banked, the current balance is displayed in the absence details box. In this example, the employee has requested 7 hours of annual leave on July 29th, and they currently have 98.79 hours of annual leave available. Please note that the 7 hours the employee has requested has already been deducted from their annual leave balance. It was deducted when the employee submitted the request. In the workflow box, the status of the request is detailed. The comments section shows the comments entered by the employee. In this example, there are no employee comments. This section also has an approver comments field for you to add comments to the request before approving, denying, or pushing it back. The final section is the request history box, which provides a history of all actions for this request. In this example, the employee Lorraine submitted the request on July 22nd. There are 4 links at the bottom of the page that you can use to find additional information when making your decision to approve or deny the request. On the absence request history page, you can review the employee's previous leave requests. This page will list requests that you have approved and denied, as well as requests that are in submitted status. Please note that you may see requests that are in pushed back status because the employee has not yet canceled it. Once canceled, you will no longer be able to view it in the request history. The absence balances page provides the employee's leave balances for all leave types, while the monthly calendar page will show the schedule and leave requested for all employees on your team. We will look at all 3 of these pages in detail later in the session. The Return to Absence Requests link brings you back to the list of pending leave requests. After you have reviewed the request details and determined if you should approve or deny the request, you can select the appropriate action by using the buttons at the bottom of the page: Deny, Approve, or Pushback. As we discussed earlier in the session, pushback is an action in the system that sends the leave request back to the previous person. So the request may come back to the employee for additional information, or it may go back to someone within the approval chain for requests that require multiple levels of approval. Please note that once pushback is selected, the employee's leave hours are returned to them and they now have access to the request to make changes, even if the request was pushed back to a previous approver in the approval chain. The system will maintain a history of all requests that you approve and deny. However, any request that you push back will not be visible in the system once the employee cancels it. So, if you want to keep a record of the request, you should deny it instead of pushing it back. Let's approve this request. To approve the request, simply click on the Approve button. Once you hit the Approve button, the system will ask you to confirm the request. Are you sure you want to approve this absence request? Please note that for some leave types, you will receive a system-generated message with additional information that you will need when making the decision to approve or deny a specific leave request. If you click No, you will be taken back to the request where you can make comments and/or either approve, deny, or push back the request. Let's click Yes. Once you confirm your request, you will get a message letting you know the request was successfully approved. At this point, an email will be sent to the employee letting them know that their leave request was approved. When you click on OK, you will return to the Absence Requests page where you can action other pending leave requests. When we approve, deny, or push back a request, we will have the option of adding approver comments. When writing these comments, we should ensure that they are professional. Remember that your comments can be viewed by the employee and the next level approvers in a multi-level request, as well as delegated approvers. Now that we know how to approve, deny, or push back an employee's leave request, let's look at how leave is deducted. Leave hours are deducted by the leave type requested. For some leave types, like bereavement and injury on duty, leave hours are not earned or banked. For sick, annual, and paid leave, hours are earned and can be banked for future use. For these leave types, once the leave is requested, the leave hours are deducted from the employee's leave balance. For all requests that are in submitted and approved status, the hours have already been deducted from the employee's leave balance. For denied and pushed back requests, any hours requested off were returned when the request was denied or pushed back, while saved requests have not deducted leave hours from the employee's leave balances. If an employee requests a full day of leave, the number of hours scheduled to work are deducted from the employee's leave balances. So, for example, if an employee works Monday to Friday, 7 hours a day, the system will deduct 7 hours. If, for some reason, the employee's schedule changes after a request has been approved, the system will use the new schedule to determine the number of hours to deduct from the employee's leave balance. So, for example, if the employee's schedule changes from 7 to 8 hours per day for the day requested, the system will deduct 8 hours. In the system, this is known as the amended duration. Employees can request partial days off. For these requests, the hours deducted are based on the number of hours entered in the request. All employees have a schedule in PeopleSoft which shows statutory holidays. The system does not deduct leave hours for a statutory holiday for employees who work a regular or compressed Monday to Friday schedule and are normally scheduled off on statutory holidays. If a unionized employee is a shift worker and is scheduled to work on a stat holiday, any requests for leave would reduce their leave balance for leave types that are earned and banked. How leave is deducted is determined by the employee's collective agreement. If you require clarification on a collective agreement, please contact your HR consultant. Unlike statutory holidays, civic holidays are not showing in PeopleSoft. If an employee requests time off that includes a civic holiday, the system will deduct leave hours for that day, for leave types that are earned and banked. So, for example, if there is a civic holiday on Wednesday and the employee requests annual leave for the week, the system will deduct the leave hours for the civic holiday. In this case, the employee should submit 2 leave requests, one for Monday and Tuesday and one for Thursday and Friday. PeopleSoft will send email reminders to approvers when leave requests are in pending status for an extended period of time. If a leave request requires only one level of approval, the approver will receive an email reminding them that they have a request or requests requiring action. If the leave request requires multiple levels of approval, the approver will receive an email reminder and, if not actioned, the request will move to the next level approver. Please note that the employee will be able to see that the request has moved past an approver. Before we move to the next section of the training, let's test our knowledge. Question number 1. You have an excellent employee who hasn't used one family leave day since joining your team 5 years ago. The employee asks for family responsibility leave to take their best friend of 30 years to an all-day medical appointment. Would you approve or deny the request? The answer is B, deny. The employee would not be eligible for family responsibility leave for this situation. However, you can approve time off using another leave type. Question number 2. An employee is off due to illness for 4 consecutive days. When they return to work, they submit a request for certified sick leave and tell you they will give you a doctor's note after their doctor's appointment next week. Would you approve or deny the request? The answer is neither approve or deny. The approver should wait until the documentation has been provided and then approve the request. You should contact your HR consultant for advice if the note has not been provided after an extended period of time. Question number 3. An employee has booked an appointment for next week to replace their hot water boiler. They request family responsibility leave for the day. Would you approve or deny the request? The answer is B, deny. Because the appointment is pre-planned and not an emergency, the employee would not be eligible for family responsibility leave for this time off. Question number 4. True or false? As long as an employee has leave hours available, I should approve the request for time off. The answer is B, false. There may be times that you will deny a leave request even when the employee has enough hours to cover the time off requested. For example, the July 1st holiday falls on a Tuesday, and everyone on your team requests the Monday off before the holiday. Obviously, for operational reasons, you will not be able to approve all requests for that date. Question number 5. If an employee who works a regular Monday to Friday schedule requests time off that includes a statutory holiday, the system will not deduct leave hours for the stat holiday. The answer is A, true. For employees who work a regular Monday to Friday schedule, the system will not deduct leave hours for the stat holiday. If an employee is a shift worker and is scheduled to work on a stat holiday, any requests for leave would reduce their leave balance. Once again, civic holidays are not showing in the system, and all employees will use leave hours for time off requested on the civic day. Now that we know how to approve a leave request, let's walk through the process of requesting leave on behalf of an employee.